Welcome back, everybody, to the 423 Football Podcast. Hope you all had a fantastic Thanksgiving and holiday weekend. We are here to talk Week 12 recap, normal as usual. I'm your host, Brandon Bouchard, joined here by Brett Hamilton.
Hello.
Okay, so a lot of things going on in Week 12. A lot of injury news to go through, some suspensions even. Everything's getting a little testy right now. A lot of things are happening. Playoff races are getting tight. I don't know. It's going to be an exciting couple weeks of football. But this week, holiday weekend, had plenty of good things to talk about. So, to start off, Michael Crabtree and Aqib Talib have been suspended 2 games without pay. I believe they're appealing. I don't see any way that they're getting it reduced. Maybe a game. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a game. But it looks like Crabtree, Talib, going to be suspended for 2 games. Obviously, from a fantasy perspective, you're looking more at Crabtree if you're a Crabtree owner. Him being out. Raiders, they could also be without Amari Cooper in week 13 after suffering a concussion from a brutal knockout hit as well as an ankle injury. So Raiders might be down to Seth Roberts and just Jared Cook catching the balls. Cordarrelle Patterson.
I love Jared Cook this week.
Yeah, Jared Cook. We'll talk about that more in tomorrow's show. But and even if you're looking at players matched up against the Broncos, like most notably receivers, Aqib Talib being out that's a big deal. I mean, it might if you were on the fence between starting a guy and not starting a guy because they're playing Denver, this is a perfect opening for you to say, yeah, I'm okay starting that person.
Yep.
Okay, C.J. Beathard suffered a knee bruise and a hip strain in Sunday's game. We saw a little bit of Jimmy Garoppolo.
A literal minute.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good minute. It was.
Yeah.
I mean,
2 passes, 1 touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, it was as garbage time as you could ever think. But they were trying to get him reps. Obviously, he's going to be their quarterback at some point in the future. We're just going to have to monitor Beathard from this week on and see how he progresses. Greg Olsen left Sunday's game with soreness in his recently broken foot. I've heard a lot of different sides to this. A lot of people saying it's time to panic because a ton of players have gotten this surgery on their foot. Edelman got it. Des Bryant got it. Julio Jones got it. I think Sammy Watkins got it. Yeah. And they all, every single time, they require a second surgery at some point.
Yeah.
But usually they can play through the pain. However, I guess there's been a history of soreness. And, I know, especially with, ankles and feet, it's just, there's a lot of, the blood flow down there is just, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's like, after you get done with it, like a foot injury, or an ankle injury, broken, sprained, whatever, there can be sorenesses, and it can tighten up on you, and especially in cold weather, which is what we're playing in right now, that might pop up. Let's see. Doug Martin suffered a concussion on Sunday. Really, Bucks have struggled to get the run game going with Martin in there at all. So I don't know. We're just gonna have to monitor that throughout the week and see if he plays in Green Bay on Sunday. Jameis Winston on track to practice Wednesday, barring any setback. Now, I just want to say practice does not mean he's going to play this week.
No, I still don't expect him to play.
No, this is what we saw Andrew Luck a few weeks back. He actually got some practice time, and then he had a setback.
He's certainly not practicing.
But even when he was practicing, he was still 3-4 weeks away, even without a setback.
Yeah.
So just be wary there. I still think it's going to be a few weeks. This is not the best situation to jump back into. Cold weather. Again, cold weather aggravates injuries. Damian Williams is expected to miss time with a dislocated shoulder. So, Kenyon Drake, do you have that much faith in picking up Kenyon Drake?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Someone's got to get the ball.
It's a terrible offense, and I'm not, super, super excited about it, but, I don't. You saw whenever they did use Jay Ajayi before they shipped him out, they were sticking with one running back. He was the guy. So I think that's they're fine doing that. They don't always have. They're not one of those teams that always feels like they have to run a committee. So I think it's going to be Drake.
Yeah, and I mean Kenyon Drake. He's a good running back. He's fast. He's great catching balls out of the backfield.
Yeah.
And like I said, someone's got to get the ball.
Yep.
Kelvin Benjamin is reported to have a torn meniscus. That is he pretty much droppable at this point?
I was going to drop him even before that news.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about a guy who's injured, and you have no frame of reference for whenever he actually comes back on the field. If he was playing this week, you would have no confidence in starting him because you don't know what he looks like in that offense because he got traded from the Panthers before this happened.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be confident starting him anyway, even if he wasn't hurt. So, no, I mean, he's definitely droppable.
All right, two more things to note. Geno Smith has been named the starting QB for Week 13, so Eli's streak of 210 straight starts will come to an end. 87 games short of Brett Favre. I don't think he was going to get that. I mean, he'd have to play at least 5 more years to get up to Favre. But yeah, obviously Geno Smith. I don't know why they're going with Geno Smith and not Davis Webb, who they've been talked about.
I always thought it would be Davis Webb.
Give the guy some reps. I mean, Geno Smith is definitely not the answer. Davis Webb could be something.
Yeah, you at least got to see what you have in him. I mean, you've got half your team on the IR. I mean, you at least try.
Yeah, but obviously this is going to – any Giants players from here on out, I think they get a huge downgrade.
Yeah.
Orleans Darkwa, not as much as the pass catchers, but still it's not looking pretty for the Giants. Their season is utterly done.
Yep.
And then Darren McFadden was cut from the Cowboys this week and is officially retiring from the NFL after 10 seasons. So, farewell, Mr. DMC.
Fare thee well.
You had a decent run. You had some up and down years, but obviously now it's just going to be Alfred Morris and Rod Smith in that backfield until Zeke gets back. We're getting close to that. So, 2-3 weeks till Zeke gets back?
Yep.
Yeah.
3 weeks.
So. Still liking Alfred Morris in that backfield the most, though.
Yeah.
Okay. Standouts from Week 12. Here we go. We're not going to do flops today. Yeah, I mean, most of these standouts and flops, even when we do give them, I mean, you know who they are. We're just trying to give even more information and insight into what that might mean for the future. But, yeah, so standouts today from Week 12, quarterback position. Go ahead and kick us off.
Big Ben against the Packers, putting up 28-plus points in 2 weeks back-to-back. He's looking like he's a viable fantasy option for a quarterback. He's probably available in quite a few leagues unless you're running 2 QBs. I think you do a lot worse than him. That offense is getting on the same page. Antonio Brown's going to have 1 zillion yards every single game, apparently. And those are going to be thrown by Big Ben. So
yeah, the Steelers are definitely turning things around at this point.
Their defense is kind of shaky, which is odd. It's kind of flipped the script a little bit.
Yeah, and their matchups coming up are very, very favorable.
Yeah.
My standout of the week, same game, Brett Hundley. 22 points in this one. We finally started seeing him open things up and actually throw the ball down the field. No picks.
Picks.
That I think that's more impressive than the touchdowns and the yards.
Yeah.
But yeah, the offense they looked pretty good. I mean, Steelers might have been sleeping a little bit, but Hundley made some good throws, a lot better, a lot more decisive.
Yeah.
I'm just pointing him out as, obviously, I mean, I could go in here and ramble about Big Ben or Tom Brady or Carson Wentz scoring however many points, but I'm just saying Brett Hundley, maybe an okay streamer. He's got Buccaneers coming up, and he's got the Browns coming up. So, I mean, they're favorable matchups, and if they win those games, then obviously Hundley's probably not going to be starting from there on out. But just a guy to keep an eye on, and he gets rushing yards, so that's always a plus.
It raises his floor.
All right, running back standout. Who you got?
Joe Mixon. Finally got the breakout Joe Mixon game. He looked like an NFL running back.
After about 10 weeks of projecting the breakout.
Yeah. 23 touches or 23 carries for 114 yards, but he also had 3 receptions for 51 yards. And he got in the end zone. Just looked like a different running back. He was making moves that we hadn't seen so far this season. It looked more like his college days. And if that continues, I mean, he's going to very valuable in your fantasy playoffs.
Yeah, that's the best thing about Joe Mixon is, unlike a lot of other running backs, he's actually getting a ton of work. Even if it's a tough matchup, he's getting a lot of work.
Yeah.
So,
just in recent history, he hasn't done much with it, but now if he can turn
granted it was the Browns.
Yeah.
He's got the Steelers this weekend.
The Browns don't have a terrible run defense, though.
No, but they're still the Browns. They're susceptible to many things.
It's not the greatest.
Yeah, and
team.
Mixon, I think he added another 58 through the air.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Steelers, tougher matchup. They may or may not have Ryan Shazier. He got injured in that game on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's a very big deal for the run D. But Joe Mixon, I really like him going forward.
Yep.
All right, running back standout for me. I'm going with Jamal Williams, sticking with the Packers again. Sorry, I'm sounding like a homer, but hey, I was going to
take him if you didn't.
They put up points this week, and they might be viable going forward. Jamal Williams, 25 points in this game. I believe he's I think he's top 10 in running backs points since week 9, actually. So going forward, I don't know. Ty Montgomery could be close to returning.
Yeah.
We'll have to see where that goes. They like Jamal Williams, though. I mean, he was obviously their first running back selected this year. Aaron Jones is still a few weeks away with his knee injury. But Jamal Williams, he's a hard-nosed runner. He's proven that he can catch balls out of the backfield as well. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize how fast he was until that screen pass.
Yeah.
He had some breakaway speed there.
Yeah, he turned on the Jets.
I hadn't seen that from him.
If Montgomery stays out, you have to start Jamal Williams. You can't leave him out of your lineup again. I mean, it's just... He's got a safe floor because they are running the ball. They're not we saw better things from Brett Hundley, and they're letting him pass a little bit more, but they're still putting the ball on the ground quite a bit.
Yeah, I will say the playoff matchups for Jamal Williams, not the greatest. He's going to play Carolina and Minnesota week 15 and 16. Not the best, but granted, I will say if the stars align and they win these next 2 games and they're mathematically able to make the playoffs, Aaron Rodgers may come back, and if Aaron Rodgers is back, there's no limitations. So who you got? Another running back you got?
Rex Burkhead coming in, and it's always a pain for anyone to predict which Patriots running back it's going to be every week. But Rex Burkhead, I think you're going to have a pretty good chance, especially in PPR. Although he only had 1 reception, which was kind of strange.
He got in the end zone twice, but no. Can I just say can we just narrow this Patriots running back situation down to 2 guys?
Oh yeah, it's only 2.
I want to say James White is. He could still have that game, but they're not. They're just not using him. I don't know if they're saving him or what.
They could be saving him for.
But obviously Gillislee is nothing.
No.
James White, you can probably pretty confidently drop.
I would drop him.
And then Deion Lewis and Rex Burkhead are, I guess, the 2-headed, I wouldn't say monster, but 2-headed something that's one might get a good week, one might not.
I don't feel terrible about starting either one if I have to, but predicting which one's going to have the better game is nearly impossible. But Rex Burkhead, with 13 touches, he had 50 yards and a touchdown, so... You like to see that. Going forward, looking at their matchups, I think it plays a little bit better into Rex Burkhead's hands. But it's just really hard to predict what they're going to do every week.
Yeah, it's never fun. Wide receiver standouts. I'm going with Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson, 5 straight games with a touchdown. No signs of slowing down.
No. He's just really good.
Yeah, I tweeted on Sunday, I was like, I honestly think he's top 10 wide receiver in the NFL at this point. We're seeing guys fall out of the top 10 or in that that top tier state of mind over the past couple years. Obviously, Demaryius isn't up there anymore. Jordy's probably not up there anymore. Des Bryant's not up there anymore. But Robbie Anderson is, he's proving that he's fast. He's bigger than people think. His hands are incredible. I was raving about the fact that he can catch in coverage and just do things that most guys can't do. And if Josh McCown is flinging it to him, that's really not that bad.
Yeah, he can fling it.
Yeah, and he's got Kansas City this week. People think Marcus Peters, but Robbie Anderson is. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll have a great game, actually.
Yep.
Wide receiver for you?
Julio Jones. We would be very remiss to not talk about Julio Jones. It's kind of a sore subject for me. But he had 12 catches for 200 53 yards and 2 touchdowns.
50 PPR points.
A monster of a game.
Wasn't enough.
Wasn't enough for Brandon in one league.
God. I'm salty. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, Brandon's pretty salty. Not as salty as I am about this NFL season. But Julio Jones is he's a monster. He just absolutely tore the Buccaneers defense up. No one could touch him. I had some questions of why they played defense like the way they did, but that's a topic for another day. But Julio, I mean, you know it's in him, and this is why you play Julio every week.
Yeah,
he's gonna have a game like this.
He's Antonio Brown, Julio Jones. They're 1A, they're 1B.
Yeah.
Just there's no one even close. It's not even a discussion. All right, one more wide receiver standout for me. I got Jamison Crowder. 20 points in this game. We finally saw him actually do something. It's been quite a few weeks, but with Chris Thompson now gone, those dump-off passes are going to go somewhere, and Jamison Crowder looks like the benefactor of that.
Yep.
All right, tight end standout.
Tight end, I'm going to go Kyle Rudolph. He is definitely my tight end. I have been in like all of my leagues for some unknown reason.
You love you some Kyle Rudolph.
Yeah, he just fell to me in all of them. I don't know why. I keep rolling him out there, but he rewarded me this week with 63 yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. It was pretty good game.
Yeah, not bad at all. A few more standouts before we move on. Alvin Kamara, 30 points again. I mean,
he's a standout every week.
Yeah, he's a must start every week. It's not even a question.
Yeah.
Sammy Watkins, Cooper Kupp, both got over 10 points in this game without Robert Woods on the field. So something to look at. Gronk gets a bounce back game, gets 2 touchdowns.
Oh, yeah.
Finally getting back to his
he was due for it.
His Gronkness.
Yeah.
And then Ricky Seals-Jones, 3 touchdowns in 2 games.
Yeah.
I would say it's a fluke, but he's getting the targets too.
Yep.
And Blaine Gabbert, I guess him being the quarterback has moved to him getting a chance. And he's a fast tight end. He's almost like Evan Ingram. I'm not going to put him on that pedestal. But I mean, Ricky Seals-Jones, if he keeps doing it, he might be a fine tight end play.
Blaine Gabbert likes him. Blaine Gabbert's not doing a terrible job. He's not the best quarterback in the league, but he's getting along pretty well.
Oh yeah. All right. Before we move into our stock ups and stock downs and our waiver wire, I want to go through and give a few names of players that have easier they have notable remaining schedules ahead, most notably in the playoffs. So players with the best remaining schedules. I dabbled on this before, but if you're looking at quarterbacks, Phillip Rivers, Big Ben, great matchups going forward. I think Phillip Rivers plays like the Browns and then the Raiders, and it's looking like a pretty fair matchup just across the board. And the Chargers are on fire right now, and if they want to make the playoff, they're making their playoff push right now, and it's looking good. Same with the Steelers. And sticking with the Steelers, Juju Smith-Schuster, obviously you're going to start Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, but Juju has a very, very nice schedule coming up. Mm-hmm. He's dealing with a hamstring injury, so may or may not be out there, but if he is, I love him for the remainder of the season. Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt has one of the best running back schedules for the rest of the year. Andy Reid just needs to wake up and use him, and he'll be fine. That's why I can't confidently say that. I mean, you kind of have to start Kareem Hunt.
Oh yeah, it is very unlikely that you have a viable option to put in from your bench over Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, it's hard. Just like I don't know if it's just us being, stubborn and seeing what he did at the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
but we can't get that out of our heads.
There is something about that bias, but I mean, you know what he can do. It's just that offense is just looking different now, and it's painful. But that's the thing. I mean, he's put you into a corner now, is where you don't have. I mean, you don't play him or C.J. Anderson. You know, I mean, it's just like it's very. There's a lot of tough decisions to make around Kareem Hunt, but. I mean, I think you still have to roll with him.
Yeah, the schedule's there.
Yeah,
it's there for him to do what he did before. But
who they play?
They got Jets. Sorry, all these kind of fused together with me. I wrote down a few of them. I know they got the Jets this week, but Yeah, they're kind of fusing together. I got like 50 names written down. Latavius Murray, great matchups coming up. He's got Green Bay once. I believe he's got Detroit once. I expect them to be up in most of these games at some point. So Latavius Murray is going to get the grinding work. And then 2 tight ends I want to mention. Zach Ertz. I mean, you're pretty much starting him every week, but he's got a fantastic set of tight end schedule. And Ricky Seals-Jones. He if the target. I mean, the targets stay there. Yeah. He's got a good matchup for the rest of the playoffs. And then I'll go through a few wide receiver just teams in general that have good matchups. Carolina has I think the top 5. Yeah, the top 5 for best matchups. Carolina's got great matchups. So Devin Funchess, looking at him. Yep. Atlanta, obviously you're starting Julio. Mohamed Sanu is a great option. Pittsburgh, talked about Antonio. You're obviously starting him. Juju Smith-Schuster, starting him. Jacksonville actually has a very good set of matchups going forward for the wide receiver position. So Marquise Lee, I still think D.D. Westbrook's going to break out at some point. I think this is actually a pretty good week playing the Colts. But Marquise Lee, maybe Allen Hurns gets back. I really like Marquise Lee going forward. And then the Chargers, they're blowing up right now. And Keenan Allen he honestly might finish as a top 10 wide receiver on the season. On this pace, he will. Yeah, on this pace, I don't see him slowing down. He looks incredible at the moment, and the schedule is very, very favorable. All right, a few teams with very, very poor matchups going forward. Green Bay running backs. I know we raved about Jamal Williams, but they play Minnesota, they play Carolina, they play Detroit, they play the Browns, who, I mean, like you said, not the best matchup.
But you can score on them.
I think, honestly, I just think it comes down to whether Aaron Rodgers plays. If he plays, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
They can put up points. Guys can they can move the ball, get points in the end zone. Yeah. So, just something to monitor there. And then Greg Olsen, he actually has the toughest remaining schedule for tight ends.
Wow.
He's dealing with a foot injury too, so it might be you might be wanting to look somewhere else. I know we were raving about him before, but I didn't realize that I didn't realize the schedule was going to be this tough moving forward, and I didn't realize that the foot was going to be a problem again. And then Seahawks. This one I don't like to say, but Seahawks, Russell Wilson. I don't know if you're starting any of their running backs. Probably not.
Probably not.
But
J.D. McKissick and PPR.
Yeah, I guess if you're desperate. Russell Wilson, Doug Baldwin, Jimmy Graham, Paul Richardson. Those are the main guys. But they got Philly this week. They play Jacksonville and they play the Rams.
Whew.
So not very good of a matchup. But I will say Seahawks seem to always step up when they play like tougher opponents. They always seem to get things going somehow. Like, I don't know what, it's like a mindset. So I think they'll be okay, but something to just look at. If you have better options, maybe pick someone else.
Yeah.
Okay, stock ups and stock downs. Who you got going up?
Stock up, even though he's got a tough schedule, as we just went over, Jamal Williams. I really like what we're seeing from him. I don't know. I don't really expect Aaron Jones to make. What do you think about Aaron Jones going forward? I mean,
I really don't think he'll be back.
To worry about.
Well, I don't think he'll be back until week 16 or 17.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Ty Montgomery is the one you need to be worrying about.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing with Ty Montgomery is, I still think that even if Ty Montgomery does come back, he's probably just going to get hurt again. I mean, honestly, he just cannot stay healthy. Like, all he does is get hurt. It's awful, but that's all he does is get hurt. But even if he does come back, I don't know what I mean, if Jamal Williams keeps doing what he's doing, I don't see any reason why they need to really mess up a good thing. What they've got going on right now.
Yeah. My stock up, Rex Burkhead. He's just now really getting back into that full loop that we're talking about. And we dabbled in this before, but Rex Burkhead is clearly one of the two running backs that the Patriots are using right now. Yeah. He's getting the passing down work, and he's getting an end zone too. So Rex Burkhead, love him going forward. And I know he's available in quite a few leagues.
Yeah.
One more stock up for me, Jamison Crowder, alluded to before. No Chris Thompson. The dump-off passes have to go somewhere, so I really like Jamison Crowder going forward. Granted, he is dealing with an injury right now, so just something to monitor. Maybe not the best situation if he is under 100% healthy.
Yeah. Stock downs, we're going to go James White. I think we talked about it a little bit earlier, but I think he's like full-out droppable. I think Rex Burkhead is emerging as the James White role. And plus, you still got Dion Lewis still doing his Dion Lewis thing. There's just not enough room for all of those. You can't confidently start James White in any format now. So he's definitely on the drop radar for me.
I listed Devontae Parker as droppable as well. He's one of my stock downs.
Yeah.
I wrote down a few names that tell me if you would or wouldn't drop these guys.
Okay.
Doug Martin.
He would be a hold for me. He's pretty close. I mean,
he actually has decent matchups in the playoffs. Yeah, I will say that.
If there's like a gem on your waiver wire and he's the closest one to your team that you can drop, then you're fine. That's okay.
C.J. Anderson.
I would drop him. I actually like Booker a lot more going forward.
All right. Trying to think of one more.
I would drop him in the hopes that my opponent plays him. Let's put it that way.
That's a nice little tidbit. Trying to think of another. I don't know. I will say a lot of people are dropping Jordy Nelson right now. If you've waited this long, I don't understand why.
Yeah.
You would drop him. We could be 2 weeks away from Aaron Rodgers coming back, and if we are, then Jordy Nelson's
putting him right back.
Jordy Nelson's a top 10 receiver. You're putting a top 10 receiver on your bench. Obviously, people were picking up Josh Gordon a few weeks ago in preparation for this, and we know a lot less about Josh Gordon than we know about Jordy Nelson.
Yeah.
So if you have been holding on to Jordy Nelson for this long,
you might as well just keep it up.
Especially
if you expect to go pretty far in your playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, waiver wire adds of the week. Actually, I had two more stock downs. I was looking at something else. But Jay Ajayi, way down. This was my fear all along with him.
Yeah.
I mean, I said it when he got traded there. I was like, it's going to be worse than what he is in Miami. He's not going to get the carries.
He didn't get the carries, but he was like a yard and a fumble away from a touchdown that would have made his day. So, which has happened in every game that he's played in so far. So
I mean, hindsight's 2020.
He's definitely that. I want to say he's boomer bust, but he's really just been kind of consistent, even with only like 6 carries a game.
Yeah, he's consistently getting just 6 carries.
Yeah, I mean that's tough to rely on, but yeah, I mean I don't.
Breaking news. Breaking news. Jimmy Garoppolo will start for the 49ers in this Week 13 game.
That's what I expected. I definitely expected. I mean, I honestly can't believe they let C.J. Beathard play that game until he got hurt. He was getting walloped.
That's what I really hope they don't get Jimmy Garoppolo walloped.
Yeah, that's true.
He's going to be their future. And I guess we're just gonna have to play it by ear and see how it goes with him. I don't really want to make any like bold predictions of like receivers being that much better than what they were. I'm not gonna say Marquise Goodwin's gonna be like the guy now, but I do like Carlos Hyde in this upcoming game. But anyway, Jimmy Garoppolo starting. We'll just see how it goes. 2 more stock downs I had: Evan Ingram, Sterling Shepard. Obviously, Eli Manning not going to be starting probably the rest of the season. It's going to be Geno Smith. So I am avoiding starting Evan Ingram, Sterling Shepard at all this year.
You think if Geno Smith has a terrible game, they'll put in David Webb?
Yes, they will definitely put in Davis Webb.
I don't know why. Oh, Davis. Sorry. I don't know why they didn't do that in the first place, but that's just me.
Yeah. All right, waiver wire adds. Give me your top 4 or 5 guys.
Corey Coleman, if he's still hanging out there. Rod Smith, D.D. Westbrook, Zay Jones, and Jacquizz Rodgers.
All right. I had a few of those names. Rex Burkhead still out there in a lot of leagues. Put him up there.
He'd be up there.
Kenyon Drake, Damian Williams might be out for a while. You said Ja'Quiz Rodgers.
Kenyon Drake would be pretty close to the top for me.
Yeah, Devontae Booker's still out there in a lot of leagues. Cooper Kupp, I love, especially this week.
Yeah. If you need someone to pick up and play this week, if you get done with an injury, or if you just lost Michael Crabtree.
That's a perfect example. Zay Jones, as you mentioned. Josh Gordon, if he's still out there. He's coming back this week, so...
Yeah, if he's still out there, you might as well just see what you got.
Yeah, Austin Eckler, I guess. I still don't really like the guy, but Chargers have nice matchups going forward, so maybe.
Yep.
And then I got 3 handcuffs written down because... we're seeing.
It's handcuff
I've
time.
seen a few starting running backs kind of hobble to the sideline.
Lamar Miller.
Yeah,
gave me a heart attack.
That's Alfred Blue is my number one guy. Just because Deonta Foreman's
Alfred Blue's a good one.
Gone, and Lamar Miller. He's never been the healthiest guy.
No.
James Conner obviously up there. Le'Veon Bell, that would be the best job to have in the league if Le'Veon Bell were to go down. And TJ Yeldon. He's been getting quite a bit of work even with Fournette, but Fournette, again, the ankle and foot problems have been there. Yeah. So TJ Yeldon might be a sneaky waiver wire add. Okay, so that's going to be all for today. We will be back tomorrow for our Week 13 preview show, and then we'll be back on Friday. I believe we'll have a show on Friday. Well, some form of show.
Yeah.
And then Friday, actually, by the time you'll be listening to us on Friday, we will be traveling to Green Bay, Wisconsin to see the Packers take on the Buccaneers.
Yep.
I'm hype. I am super hype.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's my first trip to Lambeau.
Everyone's got to go. At least once.
All my friends have gone except for me because I'd never get to do anything. But
well, now it's your team. It's perfect.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I waited for the good one.
Yeah. All right, so that's going to be all for today. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the423football. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube. Give us a like. Leave your comments and reviews. Thanks for listening. We are the 423 Football Podcast.